Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Growth Shift. I'm Jennifer from Stile AI Solutions, and I'm thrilled to have you join us for another episode where we explore the ideas, strategies, and stories that drive real business growth and measurable impact. Today, I'm joined by William Grant, the founder and CEO of NutriFusion, a company that's redefining how we think about nutrition in everyday foods. NutriFusion takes the natural vitamins and minerals found in fruits and vegetables and infuses them into processed foods and beverages, helping brands make healthier products without compromising taste or shelf life. William, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Let's start from the beginning. William, can you tell us a little bit about yourself, your role, and what NutriFusion does in a nutshell?
My name's William Grand. I'm CEO of NutriFusion. It was founded and started in 2008, which was perfect timing because of the mortgage problems, and two of the car companies were in bankruptcy, and it was pretty doom and gloom. And we had no bank that would talk to us. They were getting rid of perfectly good accounts at that point. Self-funded it, and the rest is history, as they say.
Okay, fantastic. What inspired you to start the company?
There was a group of investors in South Carolina that were interested in what we actually ended up doing. They had an individual in California that said he could do ABC and he couldn't do any of them. I had a scientist that I dealt with for many years, and he said, I can do it for you. So I finally went to him and said, can you do it? And in 6 weeks, he actually produced perfect samples. So we went from no business model to a good business model, and that was the start of the company.
Oh, that's amazing. You work with such a wide range of food and beverage brands, from packaged snacks to beverages and supplements. What kinds of problems are the companies usually trying to solve when they come to you?
Generally, what's happened, especially during and after COVID, people were much, much more demanding better quality, healthier, nutritious food. So we fill that bill in a very unique way that no other company in the world can do what we do. So what we would do is we produce nutritionally dense vitamins and minerals that are easily added into their current recipes or new recipes as they're developing foods. So we can put the nutrition back in that modern day processing destroys.
It's amazing. I love that. If you're to take us back to kind of the early days, how did getting NutriFusion off the ground, or what did that look like, getting NutriFusion off the ground?
It was like any startup. It was, especially without self-financing, it got a little bit long. My wife and I would go for walks and we'd say, okay, how's the bank account now, and where are we going, and what's our ability to withstand it? So we were both convinced it was viable and a good idea, but it took about the first 2 years to really get it moving. And then all of a sudden it took off. We picked up two substantial accounts, one of which is still buying from us. And we were able to move forward. And we learned a lot of what we don't want to ever get into a position with in terms of money and financing and cash flow and so on, with what we learned during that 2008-2010 period.
Sure. So what were some of those lessons that you learned that you don't want to ever repeat, I guess?
We've done a number of things. First of all, what we've created principally is a virtual company. We have third-party companies that do our blending for us and our mixing. We have a company that does our warehousing and shipping for us. We have a monthly accounting firm that handles all of our monthly financial statements and so on, and then works with our auditor to do the year end. So everything we do is designed to minimize costs and maximize support and performance from other companies. Obviously, like a manufacturer is far better equipped to help manufacture the product than we would do it ourselves unless we hired some very expensive talent. We decided we would not go into debt. So ever since the company started, we have no bank debt. We have no operating line. We have cash in the bank. Everything we pay is, we normally pay all our invoices within a week or 10 days. And we have ample amount of money in the bank that we can move and react quickly to whatever the market dictates.
That's amazing. How did you get there? Like, to have no bank debt is truly phenomenal.
I decided I wanted to sleep at night, so but it worked. It worked.
Yes.
So by doing it that way, we have the flexibility. So like during COVID, our sales started to move up quickly. Myself and Myra Mackey, who's our VP, we decided very quickly with an hour meeting that we would double our inventory, and we had the cash to do it. And then we did that about 18 months ago, and we doubled it again. So it was never a question, how are we going to afford it? It was, okay, let's do it.
So, how did you land your very first account back in 2009 before the food industry fully understood what you were offering?
Yeah, we were, no question, pioneers at that point. So we would go to food retailers and say, look what we have, what we can do. Here's the merits of it. And they would look at it and say, that's really interesting, but we don't have anybody that we can get it from. So then we would also then simultaneously be going to the food processors, beverage companies, even a little later on, pet food companies. And they would look at it and say, yeah, this is great, but we don't have anybody that's asking it for us. So eventually, over a period of time, we married it together. So one of our first companies was in the powder, like protein powder business, and the other one was in the pasta business, where we would send in our product and they would mix it into the pasta, and all the nutrients would stay and be preserved, even going through some fairly intensive multiple heat processes in pasta. So that was the get-go for us to move the business forward.
Interesting. And then since those early days, how has NutriFusion evolved, whether it's the product line or partnerships or the way you kind of talk about what you do?
All of the above. The product line we've expanded considerably. We also do a lot of custom blends. So if a company calls us and we offer them ABC, and they say we'd like to do DEF, we can do it. Just by working on our formulation. When we take fresh fruits and vegetables, and we have a proprietary process where we stabilize the nutrition and concentrate it. So we can do 50% daily value on a serving size with 225 milligrams of our product, which is kind of right at the baby end of your finger. And it does not impact taste, flavor, smell. The typical consumer would never even know it's in there except till they read the ingredient deck and look at the nutritional statement. So it's a very easy, seamless way for food processors and so on to make a much healthier product.
Fascinating. All right, so let's dig into the bigger picture for a minute. The food and beverage industry is changing fast. Consumers want cleaner labels, governments are tightening regulations, and big brands are being asked to do more around health and sustainability. What trends are you seeing most right now in the kind of better for you and functional food space?
Well, first of all, obviously, there's a high interest in our product because it is unique. We are what we see mostly is the food companies. I'm going to be blunt. The food industries say, "Look what we've done. We're such a good corporate citizen. We're taking the fats, the bad, evil fats out of it. We're taking the sugars." Mostly overprocessed white sugar. We're taking the carbs out, and we're doing all these things. Another good example are the dyes. That's just now very trendy because the government said, guys got to clean up your act. All the evil that they've done over many years, they're now saying, look how good we are. And I quite frankly don't think they're particularly good at all by what they do. And the ones that are the most progressive are the ones that are looking at ways to increase the health and welfare of the consumer. Getting rid of the evil is one thing, but also putting in nutritional ingredients that are plant-derived, which is what we do, is a very solid strategy.
Okay, interesting. Over the past 6 to 12 months, have you noticed any shifts in what your clients are prioritizing? Maybe it be a focus on plant-based or immunity or personalized nutrition even.
It's a good question. It's a little bit of a complex answer. The consumer and the food processors, for example, are becoming more aware of inflammation and what causes inflammation, which is very much diet driven. There's also two other phrases that are very timely. One is oxidative stress, and the other is free radicals. And we deal with both of those very well because what people are receiving is nutrition principally from fruits and vegetables, which is a very good way to reduce inflammation and oxidative stress, and we fill that role very well. And the other thing, by the way, none of our products use any synthetic vitamins. We're all plant-based vitamins, which work far, far better than synthetics, which generally don't work well at all, despite the hype and the advertising that food processors may try to put on the public.
Yeah. What would you say is something that's working really well in your business right now, whether it's a process or a product or a partnership, something that's helping you grow or scale more efficiently?
When we started with food, and then we got into beverage, which is still not a huge category for us, but we do beverage. But the one that's really grown is pet food
Mm.
and supplements, but pet food in particular. The owner is very interested in the health and welfare of the animal, which is somewhat different than the food processors, where they're looking at market share and how can they improve a product by 0.1% and help generate more sales. So in the pet side, it's all about the animal as opposed to all about market share.
Can you share a story, a success story or a project that really captures what NutriFusion is all about? Maybe a breakthrough moment where you saw kind of your impact in action.
Yeah, actually, I've gone a few, but we have an individual that lives in Atlanta, Georgia, who has Crohn's disease, and we started sending him our powder. And what he has found, one of the problems with Crohn's disease is getting sufficient nutrition because of the chaos that the disease causes to them. He said to us many times, "You have given me my life back,"
Oh,
which was a very, very powerful statement. And it's been a great way for him to get the nutrition and the health that he needs at a very easy basis. And so that's a very, very good example. Yeah, so I'll leave it there.
that's an awesome example. What do you think contributed most to that kind of success story? Was it timing, technology, just understanding pain points?
Timing and technology, just, we got to know him and so we sent him some powder to try, and that's when he first called back and said, "This, you've given me my life back. Thank you."
Yeah, that's amazing. Well, on the flip side of that, every company also faces growing pains. What have been some of your biggest challenges lately?
We're an unusual company. We are a virtual company in every sense of the word. We have, for example, Priya, who does our PR work, is based in California. Everybody that we have working for us is, especially full time work. They work from home or from where they lived. So it actually helps because we're able to get some very good quality people that really never liked the fact of going into the office, nor did they want to be forced to return to the office. So we've got a crackerjack team of people that work for us. So we've got salespeople, for example, one in Pennsylvania, one in Illinois. We've got two people that manage the office, one out of Florida and one out of Wisconsin. You would have to talk to them, but I would say that you would get nothing but positive comments because of how we run the company and because of the fact that they can maintain their lifestyle. There's no moving, there's no hassle. And we always tell them, the first thing we tell each person when they're looking at coming on board is family is number one. If you've got a kid, you got to get to the dentist. Not a problem. If you've got one that has to come home because they're sick, go get them and don't worry about it. So we're very focused on doing the right thing for the people that work for us as well.
Or how about as far as challenges are concerned? What have been some of the biggest challenges? Is it scaling production or educating the market on what your offerings are?
Education is significant. Scaling's not a problem. We can scale our business very easily. But again, that's done by third party. We have a company that does our blending and so on for us. We have another company that does our logistics for us. And we have another company that does our monthly accounting for us and then prepares the information so it goes to our audited financials every year. We can go up and down as our business grows. For example, the manufacturer for us, all that they have to do is put another one or two people on the project and off we go, and we have no problems. It makes it very easy. It also controls our gross margins and our profit.
Absolutely. Sounds like you have a pretty well-oiled machine there.
It evolved. I can't say I had a eureka moment or anybody else did, but it evolved over time and it has worked out to be extremely powerful.
Yeah, it sounds like it. Well, if you had a magic wand and you could simplify or change one part of your business tomorrow, what might that be and why?
Probably the toughest thing we have is education, educating the consumer, even though we're a business to business ingredient, and educating our processing companies and so on. It's not an easy product to say in a few words, here's what we do. There's no real sound bite or a little nugget of information. So it does require a little bit of explaining, but it's been very, very successful. Last year we grew, I think it was about 45%, and our profits were up higher than that. So, and we're on track for increased profits again this year. Not to the same extent, but it's been very, very good. We're working on adding some salespeople, looking at we're doing what we can to further streamline our business and carry on with the model that we've done now. It's really nice when you don't need to worry that your key machine operator are they sick and or not going to show up for work in the morning. That rests with another company that has levels of expertise for a lot better than what we would have.
Well, you've built something really innovative in a space that can be pretty complex. Looking back on your journey so far, what's one key lesson you've learned? Something you wish you'd known earlier when you first started NutriFusion?
Going way back when I first had started my first business, it would have been a great one. What we learned when we started in 2008, there was no, Chrysler and GM were in bankruptcy. The mortgage market was falling off a cliff, and so we had to self-finance the business to start it up. And what I decided was I really liked it because it took all the pressure off. I've had businesses where, you've got a drawer full of checks and you see what money comes in that day and what checks you can release. And that is a very, very poor way to run a company. You're fighting fires rather than managing a business. So ever since we started the company, we have had no bank debt and we have no operating line of credit. Everything is done by cash within the company. And that has been an incredibly powerful tool for us.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to say for other entrepreneurs, especially those innovating in science-based or mission-driven industries, what advice would you give them about staying resilient and focused when they're trying to bring change to a traditional market?
Patience.
Patience.
It doesn't come as quick as you thought. It took us longer. I figured that we had such a great mousetrap. It was only a matter of time. And it was, but it was about 2 years before we first picked up our first, good solid accounts. The other thing is minimize your operating costs. That was one of the reasons why we became a virtual company.
Hmm.
Much,
Yeah.
much, much lower cost and better profits for us. So we don't have the high infrastructure and costs that a large food processor or manufacturing company would have.
Yeah. All such great insights. This has really been such a great conversation. Thank you so much for joining me today, William. I love what NutriFusion is doing to make nutrition more accessible and authentic to everyday consumers. And think your story will really resonate with a lot of founders out there trying to create meaningful innovation. Before we wrap up, where can listeners go to learn more about NutriFusion or connect with you online?
We are at nutrifusion.com, which is NutriFusion, nutrifusion.com. And we have a very information intense website with a huge amount of information that they can tap into. And anyone that sends in a request, we normally answer that request within half a day and are back with one of our salespeople looking after you. And if anybody has any direct questions, my email is UG, as in William Grand, at nutrifusion.com.
Well, William, thank you for being here and sharing your story. I really enjoyed our conversation. And for everyone listening, thank you for tuning in to The Growth Shift.